welcome back on stage His Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, Senator Pt.1 Amosun, to introduce our next speaker. Your Excellency.
Well, I've been given one very big, huge, difficult task, but I'm sure I'm going to make a very difficult job look so easy. I've been asked to come and expectedly, I should be the one to invite and introduce the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's an illustrious son of this state. Please, I want the former president of Mexico to know this, that the Vice President of Nigeria is an illustrious son of Ogun State. So when he's here, we are happy that the federal government, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is here with us in Ogun State. Then we are happier in the sense that it's our son that is coming home. So we don't take that for granted though, because we know that we cannot quarantine him to just Ogun State. He's now a citizen of Nigeria, a citizen of the world by extension. So it's always a pleasure to have him anyway. And I will just not want to take much of your time, because they said the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Just wait and listen to Mr. Vice President as he comes to address us. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Where's the mic? The mic, please. What's your coffee mic, please?
Thank you very much. Please sit. Your Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, Senator Pt.1 Amosun, and his wife, Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun, popularly known as Excellency on Point. The Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Chief Mrs. Yetunde Ononuga, Your Excellency, the former President of Mexico, President Felipe Calderon, members of the National Assembly present, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audu Ogbe, Kabiyesi, the Alake of Egbaland, Oba Dr. Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, and other royal fathers present. The Mexican ambassador to Nigeria, His Excellency Alejandro Garrocha, the Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, the Right Honorable Suraj Adekumbi, members of the State House of Assembly present, the Honorable Chief Judge of Ogun State, Justice Tokunbo Olokpade, the Honorable Commissioner of Commerce and Industry, and the Honorable Commissioner of Budget and Planning, members of the State Executive Council here present, captains of industry, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here at the 2018 Ogun State Investors Forum. When we last gathered here for this forum 2 years ago, Nigeria was slipping into its worst recession in decades after a dramatic fall in the price of crude oil. Dollar shortages hit businesses and manufacturers reeling. Inflation rose and unrest in the Niger Delta drove down our oil output. Between then and now, we have launched and implemented a comprehensive economic recovery and growth plan. We've pursued peace in the Niger Delta. We've focused on improving our business environment. We've scaled up our investment in agriculture and infrastructure, and aggressively worked on expanding Nigeria's revenue base. The ultimate goal has been the diversification of the economy. away from the kind of unhealthy dependence on oil and gas revenues that led us to the dire straits in which we found ourselves. We were also zealous about reversing the trend of underinvestment in infrastructure that had characterized our recent history. But perhaps most importantly, we have reversed the grand corruption in public finance and the impunity which attended the conduct of public business, especially in the past 5 years. Yesterday, at the Quarterly Business Forum, I said that the main reason for Nigeria's recursive growth is not just a matter of our relying heavily on a single commodity. It is the fact that proceeds of that single commodity were regularly hijacked consistently by a few. The most of those proceeds go to rent seekers who invest little in industry and who invest little in production. So, for example, in a so-called strategic alliance contract with the NDPC, the promoters of the companies made away with over $3 billion US, almost a tenth of our reserves at a point. Now, here's a list of possible roads that $3 billion would have built. And at the moment, we're in the course of getting that $3 billion US to build these roads that I'm about to name. The Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Road, the second Niger Bridge, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Road, the East-West Road, the Shagamu-Ore-Benin Road, the Kano-Maiduguri Road, the Abuja-Lafia-Akwanga-Kefi Road, plus the Lagos-Abeokuta Road, the old one. That's $3 billion. That's what $3 billion US that some people made away with could have done. And that's why it's important for us to understand that our country's problems must be analyzed from the perspective of what our real issues are. We can't talk of the Nigerian economy without talking about the blight that was caused years ago by people simply stealing the resources of this country. In one single transaction, the sum of 100 billion naira and $289 million in cash were released 3 weeks to the 2015 elections. When you consider, and that release, of course, was money that was essentially embezzled. When you consider that in 2014, when oil prices were at an average of $110 a barrel, only 99 billion naira was spent on power, works, and housing. Those three ministries put together. Agriculture and transportation got 14 and $15 billion naira, beg your pardon, respectively. So the total spend on capital in 2014 on those areas I've mentioned was 153 billion naira. And over 150 billion was released and shared in 3 days. So this is the enormity of what we're talking about. It's the enormity of what we're talking about. There is no country in the world that can survive on grand corruption on the scale that we were talking about. And that is why it was important for the federal government of Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari to reverse that grand corruption. So we spent in 2017 1.3 trillion on capital, the highest spend in the history of the country, earning almost 60% less than we were earning in 2014. We're able to spend that on capital. So you can do far more with less if we're prudent with the resources of this country. Today, with less revenue and no leakage, we've even increased funding capital in power, works, and housing, in defense, in transport and infrastructure, and agriculture, beg your pardon, by as much as 400%. Today, we are 2 quarters out of the recession and firmly on the path of recovery. Our external reserves are at their highest levels in 5 years. Inflation has dropped for 13 consecutive months. Manufacturing confidence is on the rise. And in 2017, Nigeria moved, as you've heard, 24 places on the World Bank's annual Ease of Doing Business Index. And the World Bank reported that Nigeria is among the top 10 reforming economies in the world. All who are present here today can therefore see why this is a great time to speak confidently about consolidating gains and accelerating growth. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I see strong similarities, as I'm sure you do, between our ambitions at the federal level and those of Ogun State in terms of the commitment to raising domestic revenues, attracting investment, and the emphasis on infrastructure, agriculture, industrialization, and technology. Ogun State has seen a tenfold increase in internally generated revenues between 2011 and today. I'm also told that a significant portion of the foreign direct investment that came into Nigeria between 2016 and 2017 actually ended up here in Ogun State. And it is not difficult to see why. Between 2011 and today, the state has moved up from 35th place on Nigeria's subnational ease of doing business index all the way to the 5th place. And Ogun State's claim to the title of Industrial Hub of Nigeria is more than mere rhetoric. I was here in December 2017 to commission the largest petroleum tank farm in Nigeria.